Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ben, this is Books with Genghis Khan, and today I'm coming to you with my January reading wrap-up, and it was a wonderful reading month. I didn't get so many books in, but in terms of the quality, it will be a memorable one, and it's been a cold winter. I've been in maybe a darker emotional mood and been gravitating towards reads that are very emotionally heavy, and I think it was just a perfect group of books to get me through this beginning of the year. And we'll start off with The Heart of What Was Lost by Tad Williams. So this is a novella, it's called, but honestly in the literary fiction world, this is just a normal-sized novel. And this picks up right where To Green Angel Tower left off. I loved Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn last year, and I'll be diving headfirst into the sequel series, Last King of Ostenard, over the next bunch of months with a wonderful buddy reading group. And we had a discussion about this book on Shelf Esteem's channel with Andy Smith and Philip Chase, and it just added a lot of richness to my appreciation of this book, which is a very thematically heavy book looking at the fallout from war and of losing comrades and sons and the grief that comes with that, and how to move on, and what revenge seeking does to us. And Tad also gives us a Norn POV character, one of the non-human races in this world, and there was just some deliciously intriguing world building going on as we get this look into Norn society and really interesting characters on the Norn side, and showing that on all sides of this conflict they're just victims, and can we move past this and create a more hopeful future. So this was a really deep and emotionally rich read that got me back into the world after a few months break, and be diving into the Witchwood Crown soon. So next one was a reread that came up unexpectedly because I loved this book last year, saw the movie, and just fell back in love with the story, and that is The Long Walk by Stephen King. So the film adaptation came out. I didn't get a chance to see it in the theaters, but I rented it at home, and it had me really emotionally wrecked and shedding a good amount of tears at different points. And it'd been almost a year since I'd read the book, and so I could tell some of the differences with the adaptation, but when I watched the movie, and I watched it twice, if you haven't seen it and you don't mind the idea of seeing really graphic violence, it's incredible adaptation. I just so highly recommend the film, and the acting performances and the way it captured the core of the book was just perfect. But they did make a lot of changes, and I think they suited the film version. And after I watched it twice, I was like, oh man, I still don't want to leave the story and these characters. So I went back and read the book really with an eye to seeing what did they keep and what did they change, and it was so cool and interesting to see because they took a lot of lines directly from King's writing, and it was also interesting to see just the changes as well. There were a bunch, and they kind of decreased the size of the cast of characters and the boys on the walk. They kind of put elements of different boys into certain characters, and I think it really worked for the movie. But I loved the book version as well, and some of the things King wrote in here as a late teenager when he wrote this, it blows my mind that he could have that level of emotional depth and world weariness and cynicism, and like some of those lines, like when one of the boys is kind of on his way out and he's yelling, "I did it all wrong," just that hits me so hard, both in the movie and in the book. And there are just a bunch of moments like that, which just hit so viscerally from this story, which, if you're not sure what the premise is, it's this kind of dystopian alternate history where the US didn't fare so well in World War II, and in this very authoritarian fascist society, there's this tradition every year of a bunch of teenage boys signing up to go on the long walk, and whoever the one winner is who can walk the longest will come out of it alive. And man, it's just a harrowing premise, treated with so much dignity by King for all of the boys here, and the comradeship. And I feel like it's a real allegory for war. And he wrote it, I know, as a response to kind of the Vietnam War that was going on at the time, and the drafting of young boys into the army for an immoral cause, and the devastation that causes for all of the boys and soldiers involved, but the way that they can find brotherhood amidst all of this evil around them. It can be a really beautiful and touching thing. So if you have not read the book is incredible. The film is incredible. I mean, David Johnson gives an unbelievable performance with so much wisdom in it, and the other performers. Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, Cooper Hoffman, plays the lead role, Garrity. Although Garrity and DeVries are really co-leads in the film, and the two of them just have this incredible friendship dynamic, and there's this family dynamic. The film is stunning, and you can rent it on different platforms right now. It'll probably go to a streaming platform soon, but absolutely worth it if you think you can handle some graphic violence that is shown on screen. It does not shy away from that. But, well, man, in the middle of this month, I just got lost in this story and was so emotionally wrecked for a few days as I was reliving this story multiple times. And yeah, it's just gonna be such a special one for me going forward for a lot of reasons. And yeah, hope you can check it out. Talking about special reads, I got to dive back into an all-time favorite series with this new release of 12 Months by Jim Butcher. That is book 18, I think, 15, 16, 17, 18, yeah. So 18 after Battleground out of a Plan 25, and it was an incredible reading experience. That was over too soon. I mean, this is a fairly chunky Dresden book as they go, but I just couldn't put it down. Being back with Harry, but the story progressing beyond where it was, 5 or so years ago whenever Battleground came out, it almost felt unreal to me, because over the last 5 years, I reread most of the series 2 times, and it kind of maybe just felt like stuck in stone for a while, and where it left off is all we were going to get with the characters progressing. I knew he was working on these, but it was just so exhilarating to see things go forward, and just so exciting, and man, and new side characters coming on the screen is, whoa, who are you? And you're awesome. And an old side character popping up that I didn't expect to see again. Whoa, this is so great. And the core of this story, though, is not very fun. I mean, this is dealing with grief and fallout from a cataclysmic event that happened in Battleground, and Butcher treats it with all of the emotional weight that you would hope. And I think it was a lot of internal processing going on in this book, but done very elegantly and with intention, and not a feeling like it was repetitive at all. And the way it would just kind of pop up for Harry, and how he would be dealing with it throughout, and seeing the slow healing that was going on over the course of the year where this takes place. It was very touching. And as one of the strengths of the series is this really big found family around Harry, and that's just a super strong and present element in this book that was very satisfying, as well as getting new lore drops that are important for the series overall. There's certain pieces kind of getting put into place. It feels like we're headed towards an end game soon. It was a pretty quiet book for Dresden, very different because it's not the worst weekend of his life, but kind of just playing out over a whole year, and so the time is passing really quickly. So there's a lot of different interesting kinds of scenes and interactions, and towards the end there was a really intense climactic sequence, which definitely is reminiscent of normal Dresden kind of climactic avalanches that I love. And so that was intense and great, and it felt right for this book also. And man, I got to the end and just wished that I had the next book already. I know he's coming out with another novella later this year to help tide me over, and that he's already well underway in writing the next book and wants to get that out pretty soon, because I am just so invested in this story and these characters. I did finish one more book in January, kind of, and it was The Fellowship of the Ring. But I'm in the middle of this big boy, right in the middle of the Two Towers right now. And so I'm really just in the middle of The Lord of the Rings. But I had a wonderful time with Fellowship of the Ring. And this is a really great kind of reading moment for me in my life to reflect on kind of where things are going for me. Because I tried this about 5 years ago, and it was not the right headspace it was not the right time for me to be reading a very deliberately, slowly paced fantasy that's more traditional, older, because I had just discovered modern fantasy. I was just enthralled with these fast-paced plots that were high action. I wasn't too concerned with the richness of the prose, and so I just read Fellowship of the Ring a bunch of years back, where I wanted to get to the good stuff that I knew was coming later, because I grew up loving these movies, and I was not appreciating that everything was the good stuff in here. And when I started this again, I started with the prologue, which I didn't know from before, and it was just giving me a little bit of background about hobbits and pipeweed, and getting into the meta narrative of the records involved in this historical account, and I was just all about it. And then we got into the Shire section in Fellowship of the Ring, and it's spending its sweet time there, and in no rush to go off on our quest. And I was eating it all up. This is just now the perfect time for me to be appreciating Tolkien's use of language and wit, and the care that's going into the world building, the deepness of it, and all of it was just hitting in a way that it was not when I tried this the first time. I've also had more distance from the films. I haven't seen them in many years now, and so I think have this greater yearning to be back in the story, in the world, and to re-experience it. I'm also doing it immersively a lot of the time from this beautiful hardcover edition, while also listening to Andy Serkis's amazing audio narration. He's just bringing it to life in such a wonderful way, and when I'm listening to the audio, I'm slowing it down. I could go much faster, but I'm just loving spending as long as I can in each of these scenes and sequences. And this time, I just got so much more out of it when the hobbits are kind of leaving the Shire for the first time, and they're sleeping in the fields by the side of the road one night, and we get a quick little POV from a fox who's coming out to check out who are these hobbits over here. Okay. And then the fox just leaves. It was this tiny little world building detail that is not essential to the plot, but it just made me feel so immersed in this world, and with Tolkien's sensibility, and so this time I actually enjoyed the Tom Bombadil section, and Serkis does an incredible job with the songs, and then I don't know, I was just so much more engaged with each chapter and sequence, and than I was before, when I was concerned about getting to the action and the battles and quests that I know is to come. But just the time we spent in Bree, and how tense that was, and this building sense of dread, and the hobbits don't really know what's going on at all. They've just been, directed by Gandalf that they have to leave, and this sense that they don't fully understand this incredible danger they're in. It's very tense for the reader to be watching them, not really be as urgent as they should be in the situation to escape the ring wraiths, and they have no clue what's really going on around them, and they escape by the skin of their teeth with the help of some new friends on their quest, and meeting Strider is wonderful, and getting to Rivendell and the Council of Elrond, and I was just so present for all of these long sequences, or learning the backstory for why all these characters have come here, Boromir and Legolas and Gimli, and I just had no patience for that before. And so, this was a great hit, Fellowship of the Ring. I'm loving the Two Towers right now, and I'm taking it slow, I'm not rushing it, and I'm just, dipping in a little bit every day, and just trying to relish the writing. And that's, I think, the right way to approach this one, not being in any rush. And so, that is going great. I'm glad that I can finally really understand, deep into my soul why so many people have connected to not just the story in the films, but Tolkien's book as well. Because, I am now a super Tolkien writing fan, and I imagine I'm gonna dig into some of the other things in Middle Earth after, like, the Silmarillion, because I'm just so impressed with everything he created here, and I'm just feeling like it's having a profound effect on me. So wonderful read that has been. And then in terms of what I'm reading next, I'm in the middle also of The Curse of Chalion by Lois Master Bujold. Love Hervor Kosigan sci-fi. This will be my first Bujold fantasy. Actually reading this in a buddy read with Samwise. and we'll have a book chat likely on his channel coming up soon, which I'm super pumped about. We'll be doing all of the World of the Five Gods fantasy books from this series and interconnected standalones. It's going well so far. The main character is this 30-something beaten and battered former soldier who's just really broken at the start of this, and it feels very reminiscent to me of if we started a fantasy standalone with kind of the Fitz books from the Tawny Man era, and it kind of is giving off those kind of medieval castle vibes to me as well. And so solid start there. I got to continue that, and then I'll probably be diving into the Witchwood Crown as well next month. But man, it's been a lot of heavy reads, so I'm looking forward to something lighter to be a palate cleanser. And we got Operation Bounce House by Matt Dinneman coming out soon, maybe February 10th, I think. So I'm going to jump on that to give me something a little zanier and lighter, give me some laughs. So pumped for that. And then, book of the month for January. This will be tough. All of them were fantastic. And, wow, this is actually a harder decision than I thought it might be. Man, I'm not going to go reread with The Long Walk. I'll probably, man, The Fellowship of the Ring was incredible, but I think I got to go. Book of the month was 12 months. I have other months to maybe shower some accolades on The Lord of the Rings, and really that's only the first volume, first 2 parts of The Lord of the Rings. But man, 12 months, fantastic read. I just ate it up as a perfect Dresden book for where we are at this point in the series and right after Battleground. It was special. Over the course of the next bunch of years, I'll probably be rereading this more than a few times to get everything I could out of it, or just re-experience some of these wonderful moments. And so 12 months, I think I've seen it not disappointing any big Dresden fans, and so if you read Battlegrounds and you weren't sure if you loved that or the direction the series is taken, I think it's worth it to give the series more of a chance and see if you like this direction, because it's very different. So there's my book of the month. Let me know anything you've been reading, what's been your recent favorite reads, and how do you feel about any of these that I read. Love to hear it in the comments, and I'll catch you later.